talk, okay?
I'm Alice Bloom, and with me is my great buddy, Ken Barrett. Once a year, same place, same time, we're here to host the Fireman's Parade in the village of Mamaroneck. Ken, what does the fire department do to get weather like this?
They have a pipeline right to the weather maker.
I would really like that in because, you know, we've done this for 20 years maybe?
Or so or more.
Or so, and I don't remember a bad night.
No, we've had one or two that were too hot.
Well, yes, but once the sun goes down, it's tolerable.
Tolerable.
Well, tonight is gorgeous,
but,
and we are going out live.
Yeah, I do remember the year that I was fire chief. We actually had a thunderstorm just before step-off.
But we didn't cancel it.
No, it delayed things about 20 minutes, so
Okay.
whoever was on the desk was having to make up something.
Well, it is a beautiful night. We're going out live, so anybody watching us is watching us in real time. I'd like to invite everybody to come on down, even for a little while. It is gorgeous on the street. Maybe we'll get a shot up the street, but you'll see. We're looking at the reviewing stand. Nice crowd, but there's room for more.
Oh, yeah. They're not quite as deep as I seem to remember, but that may change as the evening goes on and they come out of the restaurants and places like that. I'm sure restaurant heaven for the owners
the
of the
pizza
restaurants
places are doing just great.
Yes.
But I also saw that Molly Spillane's doors are open.
Oh, yes. So then they probably have people up on the second floor as they can watch the parade from there.
Okay.
As a kid, I grew up on Mamaroneck Avenue. We were third floor and often sit in the front room watching the parade, and all the annual relatives would show up to watch the parade.
Is that right? People would come from afar?
Yeah, sometimes.
You know, I remember once when Macy's did its first fireworks display, they did it in the Hudson River, and I lived in an apartment in New Jersey overlooking the barge that was doing the fireworks. There were more parties. I had more friends and relatives that I had never met.
Am I related to you? Yeah, you got a beer? I'm related, yes.
Fireworks were pretty amazing. And I recall an uncle who's no longer with us turned to me and said, "You know, Alice, when you throw a party, you really know how to do entertainment." Thank you, Macy's.
Absolutely.
Well, the village of Mamaroneck does fireworks.
Yes, on July 4th we will have fireworks. If we're lucky, the weather will be every bit as good. We started the carnival last night. It was Tuesday night. We have parade tonight. On the 4th, we have the fireworks. On the 5th is the final evening when they'll do the drawing for our carnival tickets that folks are out there selling.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that the carnival is a fundraiser.
Yes, it is a fundraiser for the fire department. It helps mostly with our social expenses. The Village of Mamaroneck Fire Department equipment and buildings are funded by the Village of Mamaroneck. Our activities come out of our proceeds from different things like this.
Well, and why is the fire department deserving of social activities?
Well, if you really want a group of men and women to work together, if you don't socialize, they don't work together very well.
Well, of course, it's important. But what many people probably don't realize is our fire department is one of the very few complete volunteer fire departments.
Yes, we are 100% volunteer. There are no paid members of our facility. There's nobody sleeping in the firehouses officially.
Okay. We'll talk about that later.
But we are manned. When the alarms come in this day and age, my phone that's in my pocket will ring and it will have the address and location and some description of the fire that we're being called to. And I can push a button on my phone that lets the firehouse know that I'm responding.
Okay. And of course, the village is quite small. So
as 3 square miles, we're not that small.
Well,
We've got 17,000 people plus we're protecting.
I'm starting to hear sirens.
Yes, we can see the police contingent on their motorcycles about a block away. If you know the village, you're in front of Roberts at the moment.
Okay.
Half a block or so, they'll be up in front of the reviewing stand. And
Okay.
it's nice that we're downstream while we're uphill. We're downstream from the reviewing stand because they kind of relax once they go past the reviewing stand.
Right, and then they wave to us.
Yes.
Now, we're in front of Boiano Bakery, and I want to shout out for Boiano for all their help, and for Cosmo and Alex for allowing us to use their power and their internet. We couldn't do this without them. Thank you, Boiano, and thank you, Cosmo and Alex. All right.
I'll also mention at this point, if we go quiet on you, we try not to shout over sirens and drums.
And bagpipes, my friend.
Yeah, well, bagpipes we listen to.
All right. Well, we can see up the street, and we see the.
But as the motorcycles come up into view, they should be hitting your screen here momentarily.
Okay.
And you'll find, if you pay close attention, that it's a mixed contingent. All those motorcycles do not belong to the Village of Mamaroneck.
Well, who do they belong to?
We probably have Rye, Porchester, Harrison, maybe Stamford. Yeah. So those units, and usually they have friends in other police departments that also arrive. So if we glance at the motorcycles.
Okay, so it's a chance for any motorcycle to join the
Any
parade?
police guy. He may have taken a coffee break and come down for the parade.
Okay. Well, it's a big feather in your cap to be in this parade.
Yes, it is. Well, they're on television, right?
Oh, yes. Well, that must be it.
The relatives will know where they are for sure this evening.
But
here we go.
Okay. Here we come. That's the Mamaroneck Village Police Motorcycle Unit with friends.
I don't know if you pick it up on television, but you should see the community on the bike. I see Yonkers, Larchmont, Harrison, Stamford, New Rochelle. So there's about 6 police departments representing there with their motorcycles.
Okay. Now, who's going to be the lead band?
The lead band, I do believe, is the Danbury Drum Corps.
Okay. I'm beginning to hear them up the street.
Yes.
We never talk over drums. They
Yes.
always win. Oh, there they come. That's the Danbury
They're
Drum
probably just
Corps.
coming into your screen as we speak. And if you're not aware of it, the trailer with all the flags on it, that is the reviewing stand here on Mamaroneck Avenue.
Okay, we'll talk more about that in a minute. The Danbury Drum Corps. Wonderful.
All right, next into the viewing should be our color guard, 4-member color guard squad made up of members of the Village of Mamaroneck Fire Department. We'll have ex-Captain Arthur Skippy Donahue, Captain William Fraser, firefighter Victor Malinowski, and his son David. Usually they're the 2 outpost members. The Malinowskis are carrying these fancy axes.
Okay.
Actually, I'll take that back. Looks like Skip Donahue has the axe closest to us. There you go.
And our first piece of antique equipment.
Okay. The Grand Marshal is past Chief Lloyd Bud Wright, 67-year member of the Village of Mamaroneck Fire Department. And he's the gentleman riding in that little white brush truck, I think they call it.
Wow.
And he was followed by our department chiefs.
Tracy Schmalling.
Chief Tracy Smalling, Assistant Chief Peter Primrose, and our newest chief, Vinny Costa, along with his daughters, Kaylin, Brianna, and Julie.
Okay, now come some of our SUVs.
And now these are the chief's vehicles. Just in case they get tired, they can get a ride.
It is quite a long walk. I mean, we want them to save their energy in case there's a fire. Okay.
And our last car is actually being driven by a 60-year member of the fire department, ex-Captain Robert Andrews.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Now, we've been doing this we think for a long time, but the parade's been going on for almost 70 years.
Absolutely. 47, not to give away my age, but I was starting school at 47. And a few years later, here we are.
Well, I would love to know the story of how it got started.
Actually, I think it was designed for, they were looking for a community activity that was also a fundraiser. And at the time, a lot of places were starting carnivals. You got to remember, most all of our members in those times were a lot of servicemen coming back
From the
from
war.
World War II, establishing their families and their communities, coming into the fire service and other civic organizations. And they were looking for a way to raise funds for their social activities.
But I
Hans
wonder,
behold,
do we
yeah.
have anything written down by whose idea this was?
I haven't read it. It may be in the record someplace, but
Yeah.
I don't know that we
Well,
do
a
it.
gentleman we haven't talked about in a long time is John Quadrini.
Yes, unfortunately, I do believe he's passed on. But he was
Oh, yes.
responsible for putting together our ambulance group. He was big in that. In fact, went around in his day gathering green stamps to pay for the first ambulance.
That's right. I heard that. $12,000, I think it
for
was,
the
in green
first
stamps.
in green stamps, and it must have taken him a couple years, as I recall.
Now,
And there
for
were
our
many
younger viewers who don't know what green stamps are,
they're like points on your credit card.
no, but supermarkets, a store would give you these little stamps that you put in a book,
Yes.
and you would fill up so many books, and most people got things like a toaster or...
Okay. And as we've been speaking, the ladies of the Lord Auxiliary went by in the pink Cadillac.
Okay. We've gotten too engrossed in history. All right. So that was the ladies' auxiliary.
Right. And we got the village officials, it looks like, next up. My list said there were a number of other units, but I don't see that. Might be behind them. I guess that's behind them. Okay, we have the officials at the moment.
Okay, I see Nancy Seligson from the town of Mamaroneck. Seems that everybody comes out from our neighboring communities
There
to
you
join
go.
us at the parade.
Okay. And we have the future politicians being pushed, chauffeured around.
Oh, the ones you're talking about, the ones in the stroller. Okay. All right, and is that the Knights of Columbus Color Guard coming
I
down?
believe that's what we have coming, yes.
Okay.
That should be American Legion Post 90. It says with 3 cars. Oh, I do see cars behind them.
Okay. Now, pacing the parade is not an easy thing to do.
Not if we're going to chit-chat.
No, but the person who has people march off,
Yes. Uh-huh.
Keeping it running, not having big gaps.
Right. And the Legion Post, during our memorial service, they always provide a rifle squad for part of the service. And that's, I believe, the white rifles they're carrying.
Is that right?
Bias.
Okay. All right. Now, whose car is this? Is this
All right,
the
this is another part of that Legion post. Said with 3 cars. So I guess these 3 cars are members of the Legion
Or
Post
this
coming
may
up.
be, is this the Rosenblum Fire Department racing team?
No, well, last year he had the racing car that stalled in the middle of the parade. You know?
I remember that. Well, that was a little bit of embarrassment. Okay.
These gentlemen, it looks like they're all part of the Legion Post.
Okay.
They're wearing Legionnaires caps.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to guess that looks like the Larchmont post is coming up into the picture next. That's what it looks like.
Now, it doesn't look like a big deal, but carrying a flag all those blocks
Hello, Keith. How are you?
is fun.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Just ground. We don't try to speak over sirens and drums.
all right. We're joined by a special guest, Keith Waite, trustee in the village of Mamaroneck. Now, Keith, why are you not marching?
I had back surgery on Wednesday.
Oh,
and
like
so
no.
I was
Any
very
excuse.
lucky to have a ride with a fire truck.
Oh,
which is
good for you.
one of my bucket list.
There you
So
go.
I'm delighted. It's been a fun evening.
Well,
Good.
I'm delighted you're here. Now, this is your first Fireman's Parade as trustee.
It is. It's been a great experience. I can't believe how many people are out here. I can't believe the length of the parade, and what a wonderful evening.
Now, tell everybody where you're from, Keith.
Just down the road, actually.
Oh, I sense a little lilt.
I was born in Edinburgh in Scotland. I've been here 20 years, but I actually was raised in Nigeria and Africa as well, so a little bit multinational.
Well, it's great to have. Now, how long have you lived in the village of Mamaroneck?
20 years.
Oh, right.
and I'm a U.S. citizen, and I'm...
Since it's your first time with us, we don't talk over sirens, horns, drums, or bagpipes.
What we're getting, I believe, is the racing team for our mayor. And last year he drove it up the street. This year we're trucking it up the street. There's probably a story here.
Well, if you remember last year, the car broke down in the middle of the street. But we don't want to remind everybody of that.
But they do have a good air horn.
Now, I never knew that the village of Mamaroneck had a racing team.
Mayor Rosenblum named it that way.
Okay. And who is this? Do we have the Mamaroneck Village? Is that the EMS coming down?
All right.
The emergency med, the EMS.
Mamaroneck EMS we have coming up. And the EMS equipment, you'll notice they have the four-wheeler, or actually a six-wheeler, so on the events they can get into the parks and such places.
Is that a new vehicle?
Yeah, I think they had that last year. I think they've had it about a year. Okay, and then we've got their two current in-service ambulances.
So important.
And if you'll notice on the back, I don't know if you can pick them up, but the numbers on the lower behind the wheel, 68A. Is there radio call signs? Okay, the next up is going to be the Larchmont Fire Department with the helmets that Alice really likes. And I'm pointing out the red one here on the table. This is one of those helmets minus the burn unit.
Keith, you probably don't know this, but these are historical, and the firemen would wear
this is one of those without the burn unit.
Amazing.
And I've always been fascinated by them. I think somebody's going to make me wear one day.
I would assume when they go running into a fire, they actually create the fire, don't they?
That's how they got the fires in those days.
But think about the days when there were no flashlights or
no hand lights, flashlights, things like that. They gave you some visibility.
Yeah.
Of course, if it was a rainy, stormy night, you were in trouble. It was one of those things. And this is one of their old units. They have a member of the Larchmont Fire Department that his hobby is restoring old fire equipment.
Great job.
Yeah. His name is Ray Maldonado, and he's got a brush truck, and he had that smaller car that Bud Wright was riding in before. This is referred to as a brush truck. Actually, it's a pumper that gives you water. That's what it's about.
Now, did you see Joe Ricci yet? Did you see Joe Ricci yet? Not yet. Okay. We have a little bit of hiatus. So back to Keith Wade, our newly elected Village of Mamaroneck trustee. How has the year been for you, Keith?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Oh, I guess your hearing hasn't been attuned to this yet.
No.
I asked how the year was for you.
It's been good, actually. I think in terms of the agenda that we'd like to push through, things have gone very much according to plan. We stood on a platform of transparency and sensible development, and I think we're starting to get people to realize that now. I wish it would be easier to talk about more substantive things, but we'll have you into the studio again soon, and we'll talk more. But just for a flavor, well, wait, we have an obligation here to tell people what they're seeing on screen. Absolutely, go ahead. So you'll forgive me.
The engine that just went by us is actually privately owned by Valor Spirits, and they take it around to parades and show off and get a little advertising. But it is a privately owned. That means they're spending a lot of money to refurnish that unit. Also, we missed Chief Ritchie of the Samoa Indian Chief. He was riding on the back of one of those punks that went by.
Oh, okay. That's why I didn't notice him. He usually comes dancing down the street.
He was riding this evening.
Now, do you have kids, Keith?
I do, although kids is probably a little bit They're now 28 and 25.
Did
so
you come to the parade with them when they were younger?
when they were younger, yeah, we brought them here and always had a wonderful time. So now I'm hoping one day they'll bring their kids here as well. But
well, I was telling Ken that I used to come down with my kids who had a spot picked out. They knew where they wanted to sit, which was at the bottom of the street. And it was perfect. You know, you saw all the trucks coming down.
We have our marshals for the next division with us. We have John Paul with his John, James, and Jennifer on the parade line there. And I saw our captain with his daughter also.
Okay. Now, on your screen is the West Police Emerald Society.
That's the Westchester County Police Emerald Society.
Right.
They're basically made up of police officers from different units in the county. And I believe we're up to the Town of Mamaroneck Fire Department, I do believe, which are our neighbors to the west. Looks like they brought everybody.
Keith, I want to thank you so much for stopping
Not at all.
by.
Nice to see you both.
I'm glad to see you looking so well, and I wish you a speedy recovery. You look magnificent.
Thank you. I'll soon be bungee jumping again, I'm sure.
We need to talk.
Okay.
Thanks
Bye now.
again.
Thanks so
Have
much.
a wonderful
Take care.
evening.
Bye-bye.
Okay, who are we looking at, Ken?
I believe we got the Town of Mamaroneck that just came by. We also have Carmel coming up. I'm not picking up on the names on the apparatus.
Okay.
We got this interesting little red vehicle coming, but I'm not sure what it is.
So we have a moment to welcome another illustrious guest, Nancy Seligson, Supervisor of the Town of Mamaroneck. Nancy, great to see you.
Thanks. Hi, Alice. How are you? Nice to see you.
Great. I'm going to ask you to speak closer to the
Okay.
mic because there's a little bit of noise on the street.
Oh, yes, there is. And here comes the best fire department of all.
Well, we've got it. There they are.
That's
Let's
a
just sit
biased
back
thing.
and enjoy them because we've got no choice.
Here comes the Town of Mamaroneck.
And you get to welcome them.
Yes, I'm very excited. I got an amazing ride over here tonight in our new Engine 36,
Hey, good
and
for
it
you.
was really exciting. And quite a perspective to be up there in the truck looking out and waving at
They
everyone.
let you ring the bell and blow the siren?
They let me press the pedals for the horn. It was thrilling. I loved it.
Does the fire department in Mamaroneck and in the town still have an open doors policy where kids would come in, I don't know, one morning a month or something? And
Well, we have an explorers club.
Okay.
Yeah. We
And
both
so,
have explorers.
yeah, so there's
Okay.
lots of young people that we try and get interested and involved in the fire department so they can stick it out and become
Yeah.
firefighters.
I
There
would
used to be a day, at least in the village
well,
of
and
Mamaroneck,
Sunday
where the-
mornings, if you,
Sunday morning.
particularly in the warm weather, if the doors are open, you're more than welcome to come in and they'll chat with
five-year-old
you
in.
and take pictures of your little ones on the front bumper or something of that
I mean,
nature.
why not?
Oh,
Yeah.
they're definitely open and so inviting to the whole community. They really provide a wonderful community service, not just emergency
Yeah.
response.
Well, we also have a large contingent of volunteers, and we need those youngsters to grow up to
Yes.
be volunteers.
Yes.
So,
Right. Well, I think it also gives people a sense of safety or confidence, knowing they're being taken care of, meeting the people who will come if they need them, and
Yeah.
knowing there's somebody to call.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it's a nice service to be able to, welcome and embrace people to just come in and say hello and learn about the department.
Yeah.
Very good.
We
Nancy,
also
now-
have a program where they go into the schools and we happily dress up in our firefighting outfits and
Wow.
get down on the floor. So if the kids see us at a catastrophe, they're not afraid of us.
Right.
Because all of a sudden you come out of a catastrophe, you got this big
And it'll be
black
scary.
monster
Yeah.
in your room. So we do that kind of training also.
These are quite a number of trucks. How many trucks does the town of Mamaroneck have?
Tonight here we have 1, 2, 3, I think we have 4 pieces of apparatus and then
they emptied the barn.
Yeah. I did ask, what happens if there's a fire call?
Well, you're close enough to get home pretty fast.
Yes, and I was told that even on the way over here, if there was a fire call, we would be going to the fire.
They always
Right.
have a duty assigned unit.
They have a diversion effort for sure. Well,
36 just went past us, so we're...
Okay. Before we become assaulted by bagpipes or drums or whatever the next contingent is, you have some exciting news in the town of Mamaroneck about climate change and the position the town has taken.
Yes, in response to the president pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, the town decided, along with many other cities and states and communities around the country, to basically say that we are upholding the climate accord, that we intend to continue to reduce our greenhouse gases, our energy use, which helps us save money, by the way, and is the right thing to do because we are seeing changes in weather. We're having more extreme events, and we've got to be prepared, and we've got to try and prevent them, too.
Well, the town has been very courageous about using alternative energy in many sources.
We have really done a good job at reducing our energy use and reducing our greenhouse gases more than anything. But next step is alternative energy in terms of looking at solar and possibly wind.
Okay, we're going to have to talk more about that in a more conducive environment for
Yeah.
sure. Anything new you'd like to tell viewers at home?
Engine 36 just went by, and that's new. And we're also working on getting a new ladder truck in the town. But we've got lots of projects going on. We've got a new renovation of our parking lot at the town center. Come see it. It's got lots of green infrastructure in it, and it looks beautiful with porous pavers and porous pavement, rain garden, and we're looking at some big ticket items for sewer repairs as well.
Okay, so much more to talk about. It's so great of you to stop by. You look wonderful.
My pleasure. Have
Hope
a
you're
great parade.
Thank you, and thank you for stopping by. Have fun tonight. Thanks,
Thank you.
Nancy.
While we've been chatting, the Carmel Fire Department went by on the screen. And we have a little lull.
Oh, we have a lull, so let's bring on our next guest. Yes, we try to talk between the bagpipes.
Before the sirens come?
We talk between the sirens. Victor Tafour, thank you so much for joining us.
Good
Newly
hours.
elected trustee in the village of Mamaroneck. This is your first parade as a trustee.
It is indeed, yes.
Was it fun?
Yes, it's great.
Exciting
Beautiful
to
day.
walk. A beautiful night. Well, the fire department has some connection because we were talking about that. It's always gorgeous.
Yes.
And tonight is no exception. We've urged people at home to come on down.
Right.
We have a couple of hours to go, and it's a special night, and we are going out live in HD. So if you're watching at home and uncomfortable, we understand, but it's also beautiful here. Victor, so this is the first parade you've gotten to march in?
Yes. Well, yes. 2 years ago, I was sitting not far from here
Okay.
with my family. Today.
Okay.
Today it's nice.
Did you
to
bring
walk
kids
and see-
down today?
No, she's with her grandmother, so
Oh, okay.
she's missing it today.
I know our
She's
kids
the-
never missed a night. I mean, if camp started too early, they would complain.
That's what's going on. Yes.
I didn't complain. Get them out. But it's a big event, and I'm very surprised when I meet someone who has not been to the parade in the village of Mamaroneck. Do you find that your neighbors come?
Yes, and everybody knows about it. So, if they want to come or they want to avoid it, they know what to do. But they probably end up eating in one of the just wonderful locations.
I'm hearing bagpipes. We know our time is limited. How has this year been for you?
Well, it's not everything is perfect, but I think where we left it, I remember, like you said, I sounded very optimistic that our meetings were going to get better. Have you been watching them?
From
Have we
time to
delivered?
time. From time to time.
No,
Do you
I
feel
think
they've gotten better?
I think on that front, absolutely yes.
Okay.
Some initiatives are getting on, and it's a learning process. Not everything is perfect. I think we still have to
Do you have more confidence in the democratic process in the village?
No, that for sure. That for sure. We get along in the board, respect each other, and there's 5 different views, and we just have to.
So you get along despite the fact you don't have to agree on everything.
Right.
Well, that's pretty remarkable in today's times. I'm hearing bagpipes. Anything you'd like to tell our viewers before we are completely overrun?
No, that we'll continue working hard. Try to make this a lively community, keep it vibrant, and we're open to hear from the residents want to
Well, emails are on the website.
Okay. Thank
You're
you very much,
easy-
Alice.
Thank you so
Good to
much.
see you
Enjoy
again.
the evening.
Bye-bye then.
Bye now. Okay,
All
who
right,
are we
we
hearing?
do have the Harrison Fire Department down in front of the reviewing stand. And they're with the Nassau County Firemen's Pipe and Drum Corps.
Okay, we're hearing them. That's our chance to rest our voices.
Yeah, there you go.
You folks at home get a break from us.
And Harrison's brought out a strong contingent this evening also. Also, they're our neighbor to the east, so if something pops, they can get out of town quick also.
Have we ever had a time when a truck had to be diverted to answer a call?
Once or twice it's happened.
Well, I think one official told us once that they always leave somebody at home.
Yeah, well, but as I say, Harrison, Town of Mamaroneck, we're right on the fringe of either of them.
Sure.
So they're not any further under normal response patterns. There wouldn't be much of a delay.
Now, Harrison's a very large community.
Yes, it is. Well, Harrison has a couple of farms. You have the Harrison, you have West Harrison, you have Purchase. Those are all separate entities in the town of Harrison.
Okay. Now, it seems that SUVs and small trucks
yes.
are the name of the day.
They're much easier to work out of the back in the sand. There's a lot more room, and the equipment we need to carry is heavier, bigger. Also, the back of many of these things, there was a radio central if you were to look into the back.
Well, from the modernity to the ancient.
Yep.
Hard to imagine, right? What did you carry in a little vehicle like that? It looks almost like a toy truck. How beautiful. Now, do most of our
And
neighbors...
this is a piece that's been rebuilt by the troops
yes,
in
I
Harrison.
don't remember seeing that.
Done a lot of work. There's a lot of work in that piece of equipment.
How do you get the parts for it?
Huh?
How do they get the parts for it?
Some of them they actually have to make. And we're getting the more modern day equipment. So you got the older equipment and the modern day. A little difference in size.
A little bit.
Most of these are also carrying at least 500 gallons of water in their tanks. That little unit maybe had 100 gallons if it had
Now,
that.
why do they carry water? Can't they just plug into the hydrants?
The water coming from the hydrant in the truck will get on the water on the fire scene faster while you're making hookups to fire hydrants and getting the hose hooked up to the unit. That's time consuming, and we use the tank water for our initial attack.
I also try to recall that there are places in our neighboring communities that are pretty rural.
Absolutely. You get north of 287, hydrant systems are not as common, and here again, their tank water is their initial go,
Right.
and then they set up relays off other units to get water, continuing
Right.
water on a fire.
Well, you think about some areas in our neighboring Rye, and some of them are heavily wooded. You look at houses that are set pretty far back.
Yeah, but way back here, we have out in the streets, you have large water mains that, and we have lots of hoses on the unit, so we can get there fairly quickly with them. But still, again, the tank water is our initial attack item, and a lot of times it's a small, trash can fire in a house, or, it's not the whole structure's involved. The tank water's not going to make any difference,
It's not going to be enough.
then you rely on the water coming in through the supply hoses and such.
Now, how many contingents will we expect to see marching tonight?
I think I saw 30-something. Where are we here?
It's usually in the high 30s. I think we've been
34 is our last unit if we get there. Broad Channel coming in from Long Island.
That's a pretty far way to come.
Yeah. And actually, we had behind Harrison, this might be it, we have something called from a unit from Orangeburg, which is over in the Rockland County area, somewhat south of the Tappan Zee Bridge and in between the Palisades Parkway, over in that part of the topography. And that may be what we're looking at here. Well, this is still a Harrison unit. I guess Orangeburg will be next.
Okay.
Engine 13 is a Harrison unit.
I always like to watch the marching band's contingent as they pass the reviewing stand, which we're looking at now, and they palpably relax after they.
Okay, this looks like it says Orangeburg. So this is the
Okay.
Orangeburg unit. Nope, this is still a Harrison unit. Can't read well. This is Harris ladder truck, tower ladder.
Now, what's the new thing in fire trucks?
Well, the tank, they're getting bigger. This is the new thing. They're getting more equipment, larger. The aerial devices, like the one just going behind us, they can get people working in those buckets up 100 feet up. So somewhere up about 5 stories or so, you can get people.
Well, as we have more development, we've seen larger buildings being built in traditionally suburban neighborhoods. Look at New Rochelle. Look at even Mamaroneck has some pretty high buildings.
Well, when they're built with waterways in the building for firefighting.
What do you mean waterways?
Large diameter water flows built in piping in the building that on each floor. I mean, if you remember when you went to school, there used to be the hose rack in the hallways.
I guess
Same
so.
kind of an idea.
There's so much
We
we
don't-
take for granted that we
Yeah,
just...
well, we don't leave hose in the building anymore. We carry hose in and hook up to those things because if you remember the old school days, the hose would be on those racks for years and then they didn't function well when you wanted them.
Now, who is this marching down?
I think we finally have moved over to the Orangeburg contingent, I think.
Right, we can't see their signs yet. All right. Well, fortunately, it's such a comfortable night. I always feel for those who are dressed, especially the bagpipers in kilts and such, wool.
Well, this is a glorious evening for them. It's not hot. It's not sweaty.
No.
Yeah, Orangeburg has brought their chief's car, and this looks what I would call a rescue truck. These rescue trucks, they're at fire scenes and whatnot. They're able to rehab firefighters that are tired. This says heavy rescue, so this is the kind of unit that goes to major accidents, probably on the Palisades Parkway and such places, with all the necessary hydraulic equipment to get people out of vehicles.
Oh, we have a little bit of a break. Now, we were talking about new equipment. What has technology brought to the fire department these days?
Well, our pump panels are very electrified, things like that. Our radio communications have gotten stronger, more of them, those kinds of things. Somewhere down the road, we'll probably see drones and who knows what all, but it's coming. Although we don't replace fire equipment that often, many of our units can be 20 years old, pushing 30 years old before they're replaced. So that, technology on some of them is not as common as it is on some of the newer ones. So it's a constant.
Are there computers on trucks now?
Not per se, no.
Okay.
We use computers like in the pump panel and some things like that to figure out pump pressures and such things. But the computer, as you and I know it, is a laptop, unless somebody has one along for their own
they're
reference.
not built into the trucks yet.
Some of the chief's cars might have them for reference. Sometimes we got to look up hazard material outlines and things like that. They'll refer to a computer.
Okay, this looks like it's the Fairfield County Police Pipe and Drums.
And they should be leading the Porchester Fire Department, which likely also going to have a large contingent. I think last year Porchester took the most men in line. Hey Tom, how we doing?
Baron, how are you?
Good. All's well. Nice to see you.
So June tradition.
Yeah,
The three of us meet up here.
So this is the Porchester Fire Department.
Yep.
Okay, a large contingent. We have a new guest, and we'll be talking with Tom Murphy in just a moment.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Thank
Always
you
a
for
pleasure to
joining
be
us.
here.
As you always know, we don't talk over fire equipment, drums, bagpipes, and sirens.
Looks like Porchester's done themselves proud tonight.
They
got
have.
a good line of men.
They do.
A lot of
Well,
people.
Tom, welcome. So, how many parades have you marched in? Too many to count.
Well, at least a dozen.
Okay.
At least a dozen. Yeah, I always enjoy it. It's a great year. It's a great weather.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than this.
No, it's true.
No, if you were
Now, I
ordering it,
remember
this is
you
it.
marching with young children.
You know what? Nancy Seligson said that. The first time I marched, and she was a town council person and I was a village trustee, I had I had my youngest on my shoulders,
Right.
and now
He's
he
carrying
could pick
you.
me up before I could pick him up.
No. Well, isn't it great that you get to enjoy the parade without having to have a small child with you?
Well, it's fun with a small child too. But
Of
yeah, it
course.
is. I love the parade. It's great
Well,
seeing the kids
there's
on
a
the
business for you. Do you have a small child you'd like me to play with for a couple of hours? You guys go out to dinner, and
Yeah, maybe when I retire. Yeah. I think my kids are planning on me taking care of their kids when they.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
too true.
Yeah.
We can talk.
How you been?
We've been well. But you're talking to two new grandparents here.
Oh, God bless you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And no, that was the wrong comment. You're supposed to say you're too young to be a grandparent.
That's
We'll have to train you on that. Anyway, Tom, you have some news. You're running for a new position.
I'm running for mayor of the village of Mamaroneck.
Okay, now what makes you return to the village of Mamaroneck after being on the town
Well,
board?
you know what? My first love has always been the village of Mamaroneck. That's where I started. And I think that the experience being in the town, hopefully some of that, what I've learned in the town will carry over into the village, working collegially and thinking of different ways to do things. And hopefully working, sharing services with the other communities.
Well, that's near and dear to my heart.
Yes,
a town and
that's the
village
holy
too.
grail of, yes.
Well, a lot of people don't realize it, but when I started that program, it was to bring our 3 municipal leaders to one table.
Right.
Hard to believe, but there was a time when the supervisor of the town and the mayor of the two villages
talked.
didn't talk.
No.
And as a person who'd recently moved up from New York City, I found that a little bit surprising and a lot unacceptable.
And when you move up from New York City like we both did, it takes you a long time to realize, what the boundaries of the different communities are.
Well, you realize that some of those boundaries are so arbitrary.
Yeah, exactly.
And that there's such a need to share services because you pay for everything.
Yeah.
I
a lot of
mean, even if you
duplication.
can't achieve merger, you can achieve sharing services. And there've been so many
We're going
instances
to
where
cut
that
in for
turns
just
out.
a moment.
We're
taking on the second division is coming, and it's being led off by past chief Chris Simonowski with his son Tyler and Jake, and his ex-captain Matt DeRuza as his aide. And I believe East Farmingdale went by, so I think this is the St. Peter's Drum Corps coming along, I think.
Drum and fife.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yep. They practice their marching.
Doing well. How long have you two been doing the parade here?
Too long.
We've been having that conversation. It goes back to the
We
80s.
were toddlers when we
1980s?
started.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't in Mamaroneck, okay.
Yeah, well, this is a format I suggested when LMC was very new. And we were first starting to find our way. And I remember saying to Joe Windish, who was then the executive director, the parade is so great. I mean, as a person who moved up from the city, had never seen anything
Right.
like this. And it's so right there, but there are people who can't come. Because some people are older or unwell. Wouldn't it be great to televise it?
And now you're going out live.
We're going out
They're
live.
live, yeah.
We did that for many years, but with a great deal of work.
Yeah.
And it's still a lot of work. Believe me, the folks behind the scenes have worked really hard. But now we're able to do it with much less aggravation.
Yes.
And a lot less equipment than what we used to. And we're going out in HD.
I want to jump right in here for a moment because this is the Kent Fire Department outside of Carmel, New York.
Wow.
And the chief of this department is the son of one of our Hook and Ladder members, Jerry
Oh,
Barnes.
how interesting.
Keeps the fire service rolling. He's also a career firefighter of the city of New York.
Oh, I'm hearing some drums come down. Tom, before we are overrun by drums, is there any particular style or item that you want to bring to the village of Mamaroneck from the town, from what you've learned?
Say that again?
Is there anything particular you would like to bring to the village of Mamaroneck from your experience as a town councilman?
Well, you know what? I think what we talked about before, shared services and more collegial atmosphere.
Okay.
And you know what?
We'll pick up in just a moment. We need to wait for this.
We're listening to the Dixie Dandies.
A new band?
There you go. And they're leading the Hastings Fire Department.
What fun. Okay. All right, we have a few more moments to talk. Is there a particular item that you want to address on the village board? Do you see some need for?
Well, yeah, I think that one of the main things we have to focus on is development. And you and I have talked about development a lot over the years. And
Tom, I'm going to ask you to talk into the mic a little.
I'm not anti-development, but I think we have to make sure that development benefits the residents that are here too. And that we can't just allow outside developers to come in and ruin the character of our community. We have to control that, and that's the responsibility of the village board.
Have there been development projects that you find have been intrusive?
Well, there have been a lot of things that people wonder how they got built. Ralph's Ices over on Post Road, that's caused a lot of consternation in that community. And there's a lot of fear that developers are going to come in and change the character of Mamaroneck. You talk to a lot of people that have been here a lot of years, and they say this isn't the way it was. There's too much traffic. There are too many buildings. They're losing the hometown feel. And we have to allow for development, but we also have to make sure that we protect the residents from overdevelopment.
How do you do that?
Well, you do that by having zoning laws that protect the community. Zoning laws that restrict the height, the density.
So are you looking for a revisiting of the comprehensive plan?
Yes, I think we should revisit the comprehensive plan, and then we should look at our zoning. You should always be looking at your zoning because developments change. How people develop changes. I think the best place to develop right now would be the manufacturing zone.
Okay.
Because
the industrial area.
Yeah, it's actually zoned M1 manufacturing because manufacturing is not coming back. And I think that's an area where we can allow developers to do things.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to hold that for a few minutes. We have bagpipes coming down the pike.
We have our friends from Rye going by, and they've got the Emerald Society, New York Emerald Society pipe band in front of us.
Fire department, yeah.
Hey.
It's a hard instrument to play.
I admire
I've
them.
never even tried it.
I love the bagpipes.
Yeah, when they're played well, they're beautiful.
Beautiful. So you're talking about calling for a review of the comprehensive plan and of zoning laws.
Yes.
With a view towards maintaining the character of the village, but looking at the industrial area as a place for development.
As a place to allow development, because we know that manufacturing isn't coming back.
Okay. Now
And
there's a
it can be more
force.
than parking lots for cars.
There's a task force in the industrial area. That's
they
been
had
working.
a lot of good ideas, and some of that really needs to be implemented.
Is that task force still working?
Yes, I believe John Verney and Andrew Spatz were very integral. I interviewed them one time about it on LMC-TV, and they have a lot of good ideas. I think it's a real good place to start.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to be
talking.
talking.
Tax potential too.
Wonderful area.
Yeah.
If we can overcome some of the environmental challenges
Yes.
there.
And we need to look at. Are there environmental grants that we could get? Is there an industrial development area that could help us with funds to do some of the work that needs to be done down there?
Now, we're going to wait a second. What is the status of the Hampshire plan for development?
The last I heard, the Hampshire plan was before the planning board, and they had submitted a draft environmental impact statement.
And the plan is for single-family homes or cluster homes?
The plan as it currently exists is for single-family homes.
How many? Do you know?
I don't know. I thought 108, but I could be wrong about that.
Would that mean the elimination of the golf course?
That's what they were talking about, yes.
They were.
But there's a lot of issues with their plan, and I don't want to speculate on how it's going to work out, but I don't believe anybody thinks there's 108 homes going in there.
Okay.
Yeah, he asked for the moon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's a plan. We've got so much to talk about,
Yes.
and it's hard to do that here.
But that's an area, the village should really be looking to, save open space and not put in so much development that it changes the character of that community down
Now,
there too.
how would that be a joint project with the town of Mamaroneck?
But the town of Mamaroneck only has 7 acres of the golf course. And actually, the plans I saw, none of the development was happening in the town of Mamaroneck, 7 acres. So the town of Mamaroneck really doesn't have any jurisdiction on the land use. It's all village of Mamaroneck.
Can the town weigh in on the plan?
The town is an interested party, and we did make suggestions during the draft environmental impact statement. But we don't have permitting authority. We don't have any impetus to stop it, but we can raise questions, valid questions, which we have about the drainage and the creek flows through into the town of Mamaroneck property.
Okay, so that may impact the ultimate decision. I mean,
It might.
it's important. Do neighboring communities usually weigh in on development plans?
I think they, in some years ago, there's a lot of communities that sued over development. Greenberg sued Yonkers over development. I think Porchester and Rye have had spats over development too. But at the end of the day, if it's in one community, they have the right to say what the zoning is and what the development's going to be. I think you can influence, but you can't stop.
Okay, but you don't have to be invited in to register your concern.
No, if somebody's doing an environmental impact statement, neighboring communities, especially if it's on their border, are interested parties.
Okay.
And they get to comment and make suggestions. And in the draft environmental impact statement, those suggestions have to be answered.
All right.
Oh, they do. So they do carry some weight. They
Yes.
can't be ignored. All right.
Come back to the parade here. We got Rye going through.
Does Rye still have a lot of volunteers?
Not as many. There's a political problem there also.
Yeah. They had a robust volunteer community years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're probably one of the only all-volunteer
Yes.
fire departments
Definitely
in
on the South
Westchester.
Shore.
Well,
Yeah.
they're a split. They're volunteer and career.
Well, that's always a
volunteer
challenge.
yes.
Tom, I want to thank you so much for
Thank
stopping
you for
by.
having me. And I wish you both a happy 4th.
Thank you.
Always a
Good.
pleasure.
Talk to you.
Alice, take care.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Tom.
Bye-bye.
There's so much to talk about, but it is so hard to chat.
Yeah, well, it's really the venue doesn't lend to it. That's for sure.
But we're always happy to see local leaders stop by.
And this looks like North White, I believe. We're dealing with North White Plains is passing us.
That would be right.
Okay.
Anything interesting in the North White Plains Department? The chief is Andrew Cycle. The chief is Andrew Cycle.
Yes. And then we're going to have the Tarrytown Unit, and you can hear the Tappan Zee Bridgemen coming. This is the unit I think we're going to see 3 different times in the parade. They were in the 1st unit, now they're in the 2nd, and then the 3rd division. They'll also have representation. And it looks like Tarrytown's done a good job of bringing out a crew. These Tappan Zee Bridgemen make a lot of events. You'll see them in a lot of different parades and functions around.
You can see why they're sought after. They're quite good. And they're very cute.
And apparently they're a big enough unit they can break themselves down into slightly smaller contingents to appear more than once in the parade.
Oh, so
otherwise they'd all have to be running back.
I just assumed they ran around the block and ran up the street. So this group, the Tarrytown group, brought 30 people with them.
Yeah, they brought one unit, it's a tower ladder.
One unit.
And they're telling us they have 30 people in line. Looks like 30. And more SUVs. I don't think you'll see a sedan car that looks like a sedan as a Chief's car anymore.
Not
Everything's
anymore.
SUV.
All SUVs.
Well, as I said earlier, the equipment one has to carry didn't work well in a sedan. And this is a blue fire truck. And it's a tower ladder configuration. The ladder goes up with a bucket hanging off the end of it.
How tall the ladder goes
That'll
up?
go up about 100 feet, I'm sure.
Now, all of these trucks have to pass by the Metro North underpass. Does anybody have difficulty with that?
If they can't make it, they've got a route. Believe me, there's a
They've
way.
got a
There's
route.
one way or another they'll get them on the
We've never
other
had
side.
anybody get stuck there.
Not on ours, no. Not on ours.
Ooh, a little bit of a hiatus.
Although you probably wouldn't want your fingers on the rails when we pass underneath some of these bridges. But
No, but that's a problem in Mamaroneck. I mean, every couple of years there's a truck that
it's more than every couple of
Oh.
years. It's probably a couple of months.
is that
They won't
right?
read the sign, or the guy driving the truck doesn't know how tall his box is, and the next thing you know, it's shorter.
And that's going under the I-95 or going
No,
under
it's this one. The railroad bridge
Right.
is the main culprit. The throughway bridge is high enough.
And so what's the solution?
Generally, you let the air out of the tires,
tires.
get the truck out from under the bridge. A lot of times there's damage, so it ends up being towed to a repair yard.
Not fun. Not fun. Are we still looking at Tarrytown?
Sure looks that way. No, we
Sure.
can't be looking at somebody else, unless they brought more equipment than they listed.
The next contingent is West
We
Harrison.
got West Harrison
West
here
Harrison
at the
is-
moment. I
okay.
don't believe they have a marching unit. At least I didn't catch them.
Okay. Now, West Harrison has a junior unit.
Oh yeah, actually it says there's 25 folks here. I guess that must have been the way went by us while we were chatting.
Now, how many vehicles did they bring with us?
Well, West Harrison has 5 units that are going by us at the moment,
Okay.
and they're clearly marked West Harrison. And they
Now
cover
they-
that area up there along 287 and Westchester Avenue, up in that area up there.
They've brought 25 people with them.
Yes, it must be the folks following. Usually the units are behind. But
Yes, no,
we
they're
got
following.
somebody here. Can
They're
you
following.
Read that sign? I can't.
No, it's too far away.
Well, that's Purchase coming up behind West Harrison.
Okay.
And we have Chief Nick Conte.
Now, isn't Purchase in the community of Harrison?
It's in the town of Harrison.
Oh, okay. So that's
it's like
not
we
what-
are here. You have different
yes.
municipalities within the town limits.
Spent years figuring that out.
Yeah, well, town of Harrison is Harrison Fire Department, West Harrison, Purchase, are all part of the town of Harrison. And this contingent spends a lot of time up at the Purchase campus.
The Purchase campus is where?
In Purchase.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to think of where
Up
it is.
there on, what's the street that goes up through there? It's up there. Yeah, memory's failing me.
I think of Purchase as a very small community.
It doesn't have a center of town like Mamaroneck or downtown
No.
Harrison does, but their Purchase College is the
Right.
big unit.
Well, and you've got PepsiCo up there.
PepsiCo is up there. Those and they got a couple of those large corporate campuses.
Oh, I see. So, in fact, they do have to have high apparatus.
Yes,
Because
they
I
do.
always think of Purchase as being so rural.
Well, used to be.
Used to be. Yes.
When you were a youngin'.
Oh, not that long ago. Why am I feeling older by the minute, Ken?
But the wife and I have gone to a couple of shows up in the Purchase facility.
Well, a lot of
at
people
the
don't
time.
realize what a fabulous cultural resource that is.
Well, it's an art school.
Yes.
So music and things like
But
that.
that the concerts and the plays are open to the public. Anybody can
Well,
go.
with a fee, yes, they're
yes,
open.
but it's very reasonably priced.
Okay. But anyway, it can be a very pleasant evening up there.
And the beauty of driving up there is you drive, park your car, and walk into a beautiful theater. And you can be home in about 15 minutes.
Yes, there you go.
Right.
All right, I think we have a division change because I see people with children out there. So I believe we
Okay.
have a division change. Looks like
So we're in the third division.
we're moving to the third division, and we have Past Chief Robert Pescia and his aide Tom Hessler.
Did we
And
miss
I believe
Rowayton,
the youngsters
Connecticut?
belong to Past Chief Robbie Pescia.
Did we miss Rowayton, Connecticut?
If I didn't see them, if they
Well, of
maybe
course,
didn't make it.
sometimes contingent
don't
doesn't
make it,
get
yes,
here,
yeah.
right? We've tried to be very careful about that. The Westchester Brass Men.
All right, so we're starting off with Ardsley, and we have the Westchester Brass Men. Basically a Harrison hometown unit, the Brass Men.
Okay.
They're actually sponsored by the Porchester veterans. Legion Post. The Legion Post sponsors the Brass Men. If I remember correctly, somebody will call me up and tell me I missed.
You've made a mistake. Big contingent. Now, Ardsley only brought 2 trucks. Interestingly,
Okay, we have another pipe unit coming in behind them.
well, those would be the Celtic Cross.
Yeah, this must be Darien, Connecticut, and they're being led by the Celtic Cross Pipe and Drum Corps.
It's funny, some contingents have women's auxiliaries still and some don't. Does Mamaroneck still have a women's auxiliary?
Yes, they do. I think I noticed one auxiliary unit went by us while we were chatting with the local politicians, but usually they kind of separate themselves a little bit so you can pick up that it's the ladies' auxiliary. It seems like the spacing's been a little different this year. We've had a few more stoppages than I
Right. Well,
remember in the
as I
past.
look down the street, I see that it stopped, and apparently they had to let traffic go by.
Well, that's
from-
on the post road. They definitely have to open up the post
Right.
road and move traffic through.
So that's going to
Usually the timing on the spacing seems to be a little off this evening, but there might be something else going on I'm not aware of.
Well, it's always difficult, as we talked before. Occasionally, you have a contingent that doesn't show up,
Yes.
or maybe you have a contingent that shows up late,
Yep.
and you don't want to deny them entry. But
Well, those are the ones that'll show up at the later on, and who are they and where are they get?
oh, right.
And it looks like the Celtic Cross unit has taken a breather down here by the reviewing stand.
Are they making eye contact with the judges, winking at the judges?
Well, something. right, they stepped off. Here we go. The lady with the axe doesn't look like she's wearing regulation hairdo. And there's your ladies' auxiliary you were asking about.
That's right.
And this is, we got Rob Astorino coming. This is the more of the Darien, Connecticut units going by. Okay. Good evening.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Welcome. We're joined by County Executive Rob Astorino. Mr. County Executive, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
We have a few moments.
Oh, this is great. I think my hands are ready to fall off. I've probably shaken about 1,000 hands at least. What a great day.
We'll talk as much as we can, but we don't talk over fire engines and sirens and bagpipes, etc. Thank you for stopping by. You frequently come to the Mamaroneck Parade.
I think I've been to every one.
Is that
yeah,
right?
No, I would say, I think this is the biggest, most attended fire department parade in the county.
Most attended by
Just,
trucks or by the contingents?
No, people.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's massive. It's nice.
Okay, well, you have to be nice to all your children, so we're not going to ask you who your favorite parade is.
Yeah, I don't know if I should pick on that one.
No, probably we won't answer that. I won't put you on the spot. But it is a beautiful night, and,
It is.
and the fire department has an inn somehow.
Yeah. What, there were 38 departments?
34 departments.
34?
44 divisions.
Yeah.
And many more bands than we usually see, which is
Yep.
really
We got 17
exciting.
bands, and they stretch them out pretty well, so they
Yeah.
fill in.
It's great. It's great for the merchants here. People popping in, having dinner, or just grabbing an ice cream.
Actually, there weren't as many people at the curb until the parade starts, so the restaurants might be empty at the moment.
Now,
Well,
yeah.
they're starting to. But I'm sure if we look around, there are rooftops with people sitting, and probably
Yeah.
Molly Splains is packed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's our carnival. Do you go down to the carnival?
Carnival, yeah, fried dough. I mean, why not? This is the part of the year where I think I gain a few pounds because I go to I was at St. Vito's.
Well,
There you go.
That was very good food, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Very
yes.
good food.
This is a very good eating town.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
all the bad stuff that's really good.
Yeah.
I love it.
And this is the time of year. What about the holidays? I mean, come on. And we're right in front of Boiano Bakery.
Yeah, I might have to pop
which-
in there. And of course,
Oh,
I
the
won't
best
say Sal's
biscotti.
Pizzeria because Joe's right there.
Well, they're all great.
They're all
I mean,
good.
you have to flip a coin. Who are we getting
Yeah.
tonight?
And we
when my
actually
kids were
have
growing
one
up,
of Sal's grandsons is in our fire company.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, good.
First name is Sal also.
Sal the Fourth?
That's up to like that.
probably. But I remember as my kids were growing up, I felt that the one of the pizzerias would call one night, if they didn't hear from me in a week, and say, Alice, are you okay? Especially during the winter.
Yeah.
That's tough. So where do you live, Rob? What community?
I'm actually in Hawthorne,
Okay.
in the town of Mount Pleasant. And so we have the Hawthorne Volunteer Fire Department. And, it's nice because really my whole life I've been surrounded by volunteer fire departments.
Did you ever serve as a volunteer firefighter?
I did not in the fire department, no. It might be something I would do later on in life. Right now, I just couldn't make the commitment with the crazy job I have.
Well, you do
and
have to
everything
commit
else.
to be around.
What's that?
You have to commit to be in your community.
Yeah, that's the thing too. And I know
right.
it's tough on the volunteers because a lot of them, they're working, and when that alarm goes off, they got to get there.
Yeah, and
Right,
there's
so-
a lot of training that's been
And a
added.
lot of training. You're right. The
I
training,
spent 25 years as a fire instructor, and what they're doing now versus
Yes.
when I was at, they've extended
It's incredible.
out the amount of
Incredible.
hours that they
Yeah,
have to have.
which is great if you're the recipient. If there's a fire call. But of course, it's harder and harder to retain or attract because of the number of hours required.
Yeah, there's a lot of hours.
I think that we're going to be drowned out in a moment, so
Yeah.
you'll
This is that,
understand.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to see you. Best of luck.
Enjoy the night and happy 4th of July to you.
Thank you. We'll see you at the carnival.
Thank you.
And we're back here with the Tappan Zee guys again. I think this is their last group, I think. And this is, says Larchmont. I thought Larchmont went by with the flaming helmets before. I guess that was the antique division. And we've talked about those horns that the chief is carrying.
Right.
That goes back, that was with speaking trumpets back long before radio.
Oh, you mean they weren't for flowers?
No. That's how we dress them up, but they were the speaking trumpets so the chief could be heard above all the turmoil on the fire grounds. And more SUVs.
Now, is this Larchmont coming
This
down?
was
or-
Larchmont, yes.
Okay. Our neighbors.
Yes?
They didn't come very far.
No, they didn't very, very far. And they're quickly available if needed. Looks like they have 4 firefighting units and a couple of chief's cars. So
Well, they
they're ready.
brought 2, 4, 6 units.
Yeah, we
Well,
got the
units
chief's-
and the chief's cars and
Right.
the.
And this is the rescue unit that carries the emergency equipment for automobile accidents and such things.
Now, how does a contingent decide whether to bring a marching band or a?
That's a
brass-
cost factor.
Oh, I
Because
see.
somebody has to pay for that band. So we have a budget in our department for bands, but it's not for every parade. They kind of pick and choose which ones
I
they'll
see. It's very expensive.
pay for.
Now we have a new contingent this year, New Hyde Park, and they're coming down after
Yeah,
Larchmont.
New Hyde Park. That's up in Dutchess County.
No, isn't New Hyde
the
Park
new-
is
there's
Long
Long
Island?
Island. You're right. I'm sorry. Hyde Park is up in
right.
Dutch, right.
But I've never seen New Hyde Park here
No,
before.
either. I haven't seen that one. No, so we got actually 2. We got the Orangeburg folks, and we got New Hyde Park. And the last one we've had that channel there. There again, that Jerry Burns, his son is also a career in New York City, and he's with
Okay,
the
we'll get.
Broad Channel. So he gets 2 departments into the parade. He gets a gold star.
Wow. Well, now your family has a heritage of involvement with fire departments.
Yes, both sides, both my mother's side and my father's side, go way back with the fire service. My mother's father was a career firefighter in Larchmont. He passed away on the job down there of health causes. And then his son took over his position and continued for many years on Edward Roth. And my father's side, the Martin family, Chief Martin was the 3rd chief of the Village of Mamaroneck Fire Department. So both sides of my family go way back. Brother Raymond has retired from the town of Mamaroneck Fire Department, and my 3rd brother, who unfortunately has passed away, was the chief of department for the city of Cortland, upstate New York.
Well, so this is
So
in
we're
your
deep
blood.
in the fire
Oh my-
service.
So
Yes.
nobody said to you, "Why do you want to be a fireman?"
You will be
You're
a fireman.
Right. And of course, you were a chief.
And my son, to get out of it, moved to Denver. So.
Oh, and he does not serve in Denver.
No,
He did not.
Does
Did
not
you?
serve.
Did you encourage him to, or?
we didn't have that conversation. So.
Okay. Well, Denver probably has a paid fire
Yeah,
department.
it's a gigantically paid fire department. Although the section he lives, but it's also he lives in a section of Glenville, which is surrounded by the city of Denver. It's a rather odd political. Apparently, along the way, Denver absorbed a lot of little communities into them, and some of them still maintain a political presence.
I see. All right. So he's
In fact,
the,
Glenville has a stadium there where they hold worldwide soccer
Well, they
and
have Red
lacrosse
Rocks,
tournaments.
and they have this fabulous Red Rocks.
Oh yeah, we went there. That's
It's
quite
It's amazing.
Although you need our oxygen bottles to make the top sets.
Okay. Well,
this is Larchmont finishing up, and then following is New Hyde Park, I guess.
well, New Hyde Park is supposed to. We don't see them yet.
Yeah, New Hyde Park has the van leading him. And
Okay.
then here we go. And now we have White Plains Fire Department. So New Hyde Park didn't have any walkers.
Okay. So New Hyde Park was just
Said they
treading.
had 12 members, but I didn't see anybody walking. But I thought this was going to be easier from this spot, but I'm getting a crick in my neck.
I know. Well, because we can't help ourselves from looking at the street. Now, the
And
White Plains.
North White Plains is a volunteer fire department.
This is White Plains Volunteers.
Okay, I'm sorry. White Plains.
Okay, we want to do it.
They do have a volunteer division, White Plains.
They do.
I see. North White Plains, I guess, went through earlier. That's where I'm.
Now, what does it mean when they say they have regulation or non-regulation uniforms?
The regulation uniform is the blue pants, blue coat, white shirt, and tie. If you're not wearing the coat, it's non-regulation. Some of them don't even wear a tie, just an open shirt.
Okay.
Things like that.
So it's just that the department can decide what they
Yeah,
want.
they decide what they want to wear, but they're judged on regulation or non-regulation for appearance. We have appearance trophies, best appearing, this and that.
Well, this year I saw the trophies in Robert's department store.
Yeah, we give out a bunch. We do give out a bunch.
A bunch of them, right?
Yeah, but you got all these different units. Best looking unit, largest contingent unit, most
So
marchers.
no, someone who doesn't have a regulation uniform isn't penalized.
No, because there's a trophy for non-regulation uniforms. But we got a bunch. You got to pass them around. And some of them are actually memorial, given in the name of somebody that was a member at one time and things like that.
Which brings us, before we have the next marching band, which is going to be the Spirit of 76, is this parade dedicated to anyone in particular?
Actually, the last year we have lost 5 members, so we're dedicating to them. The lost members are James Comblow was chief, Lindy O'Connor was also a chief of department, Matt McGlinchey was the chief of department, and we lost ex-captain Jack Holton and ex-captain Mike Valentine, all in the last 12 months.
Wow, that's a sad loss for a
It is.
small department like ours. How many members are there in the Mamaroneck Fire Department?
Well, we're registered for 325. We're probably operating somewhere around 250 on the roll call, and probably 125 that are highly active.
Spirit of 76. Leading in the Eastchester Volunteer Fire Department. Now, we've often not made the distinction when they say the volunteers. Some of these departments are hybrids where they combine volunteers and paid firefighters.
Yeah, in the larger communities where there's a bigger population, they tend to be the hybrids. When you're out in the, well, I'll say rural, they're 90% volunteer or even higher.
Do you find that those departments that are hybrids march together, volunteers and paid firefighters?
Generally, the contingent of the career fire department is not so large that they come out to march. They're a smaller contingent. They may have 20, 25 career members where you could have 50, 75 volunteers or more, depending on the size of the department. White Plains was here with their volunteer contingent. The career part of the department was not here marching. So depends on the cities tend to be heavily career, and that's not negative. It's just they trying to volunteer, and the number of calls that a career department in a city like White Plains, Yonkers, Mount Vernon, that's a tough to give the time and the needed.
Now I'm hearing
I think we've moved to the
new
4th
drum
division.
line. We're in the 4th division, and I'm hearing the X Factor drum line.
There you go.
That's a group we haven't heard before. You can see them far up on your screen, and they're going to be bringing in the town of Greenburgh. As the light starts to fade, the parade becomes more and more exciting.
Yes.
We're seeing the flashing lights.
Actually, this X Factor probably puts on a show in front of the reviewing stand.
Well, you could try to zoom in if you're streaming. Did I mention that we're in front of Boiano Bakery?
Yes, you did.
Oh,
early
I can
on.
smell the biscotti.
Okay.
And we want to give a really good shout out to them and to Cosmo and Alex.
Yes.
For sharing their power and their internet with us, allowing us to come out live and in HD. Now, those of you watching at home tonight on live broadcast can see what we see, which is not really the entire show. But it may be that on the rebroadcast, our rooftop cameras
Next
will
year
capture.
I'm going to request a drone that can sit right up on top of Mamaroneck Avenue
well,
and give
we
us
have
the
some
sky view.
rooftop cameras that will be edited in, and we just might get that show on the rebroadcast.
As I guess we're in another break for the Post Road because they've kind of stopped here.
Well, but this group, the X Factors, are putting on quite a show for the reviewing
Yes,
stand.
yeah, right. They want
they're
more than
kissing
one
up-
trophy.
I see. Currying favor with the reviewers. Now, do any of the groups ever perform when they get down to the harbor?
Say that.
Do any of the groups ever perform when they get down to the harbor?
Sometimes they have those casual get-togethers. I've been to some parades and whatnot where some of the drum and bugle timers kind of go up against each other out there with music. You can't shout over those drums either. Look at the short fellow in the back. Pick him up back there. Okay. That should take us to the town of Greenburgh, I do believe.
Okay.
Yes, the flag said Greenburgh. I've been confirmed.
Now, the town of Greenburgh brought 3 vehicles, but only 1 tower ladder, which we will see. Now, we mentioned junior divisions. Not all departments have them.
No, junior divisions tend to be a Boy Scout-like operation.
Do we call it the Explorers?
We call it a post. And they form like a Boy Scout unit, and they specialize in taking fire department training. They'll come but our junior post does take firefighting skills. They don't allow to go into a fire building. They're not allowed to fight a live fire, but they do practice the skills. And at the end of a fire ground, when we're a little winded, they'll help pick up hose and put gear away and things like that.
How old do you have to be an explorer?
I believe it's 14.
Okay.
And actually, our current Chief Primrose started as a scout. And one of the chiefs prior to him also started as a scout with our post. And I would imagine we'll pick up a couple others across the years that start with the post, particularly where members who come from fire department families, if you will.
Now, we should be bringing in the Bogota Fire Department.
We got
Yeah,
somebody
that's-
standing
that
on the
says-
unit. I don't know what that's all about.
I don't know. That's down the street. You can see that. Now, this truck said Fairview. Is that part of?
Fairview is the green.
As part of Greenburgh.
Yes.
Because the next unit should be Bogota. Yes.
New
Oh, I
Jersey.
see. These folks have probably been asked to sit down.
Number personnel 5, so they must be standing up on a truck. And they're only bringing one piece of apparatus. Looks like they're all gathered up on top.
Oh, okay. We hear you. Now, we should be seeing and hearing the regulators coming down the street, and they should be marching in the Mahopac Falls. That's another contingent I don't remember hearing before.
Mahopac Falls, that's all part of the General Carmel area of Mahopac. up along Route 6, up that way, up there in that part of the county. I think the regulators have been in most of our parades.
I think you're right. Bringing in Mahopac Falls. Now this is
And
another
then we
new
get Turn of the River. It's up and back to Stamford.
Connecticut. Is that out of Stamford? Turn of River?
Turn of the River's about north of Stamford.
North of Stamford. I don't believe I've seen them
Yeah,
before.
they're here every year.
Turn of the
Almost
River.
every year.
Well, I remember Stamford, but
Yeah,
I don't.
Stamford, but Turn of the River is up there on the north end of Stamford, covering the parkway up in that area.
I can't believe it, but we've only one more pipe and drum.
Yeah, there you go.
No. Oh no. Does that
New
mean
York
we're
State
coming towards the
Corporate. These
end?
all members that work for the New York State courts, and they march with their
A nice
hobby is
hobby.
pipes and drums.
Why not? Why not? People who work for the New York State courts need a little
Oh, it's like
relief
they're giving
too.
us another bit of a split.
Here they come. The New York State courts, pipes and drums.
I wonder where our camera is that's doing this. It's got to be a better picture than what you and I are looking at. And it looks like the New York State Court Pipes are actually marching for Norotan, Connecticut.
Right.
So we had Turn of the River, we got Norotan and Springdale, all up in that same general part of Connecticut, appearing here this evening. A lot of Mamaroneck trophies will be in Connecticut.
Well, they're not going very far. Maybe one will go to Broad Channel or New Hyde Park.
Yeah, New Hyde Park. That could.
Well, isn't
we
there
have
always
one for the longest? I'm not
longest
sure.
distance?
New Hyde Park, Bodega has claimed that on many occasions. They're out there on the New Jersey line.
Okay, who is coming down?
I don't know. We got more people standing up on top of the truck. So
Right, I
they-
think they're always asked to sit down. Is that Springdale coming down the street?
Could be. Could be because they don't list any personnel. So. Sounds like he's got his own music in the fire truck here. Not only do we go to fires, we entertain them en route. No more sirens, we just crank up the radio.
Okay, Glenbrook. We hear you.
A little Little by little, we're winding down here, Alice. There's not
I
too many
think
more
so.
units left. We got 1 or 2 max. Glenbrook was listed as the last one, I think. What do we have down here?
Well, Glen.
Channel was listed as our last, so this might be our units coming through. These are the Village of Mamaroneck units, so the parade is over. Like the ladder, our ladder truck is the last unit.
All right. Well, we'll let them pass. We hear you. We hear you. All right. Hard to believe it, Ken, but this was such a well-paced parade that we're done a little bit earlier than normal.
It seems to be, yes.
And of course, the Village of Mamaroneck got to make all the noise it wanted. Nobody's going to complain.
Well, that's just to announce that it's over.
I think it's time to say a proper thank you to the wonderful LMC-TV staff that made this night possible. Let's thank our event producer, Rob Moretti, director, Lou Simons, graphic operator audio, again, Rob Moretti, stage manager, Dina Schumacher, talent camera, Ken Corbin, Ahmed Critchlow, and Christina Carino Forrest. Roving camera was Christina. The roving camera assistant was Sophie Cook. A roof camera, which we are going to see on the rebroadcast, is Xavier Campo. Still camera, Stephen Aloysia. Ken, of course, my co-host. It's a pleasure to be with you, as always. Production assistants, Kevin Bachna, Matt Sullivan. Setup and breakdown crew, we've got Rob Moretti, Matt Sullivan, Dina Schumacher, Shayla Navarro, Christina Carino Forrest, Steve Aloisa, Ken Corbin, Manny Foglio, Ahmad Critchlow, and Xavier Campo. I can't believe that it's time to say goodnight.
Yes, we're going to keep doing this though, right?
Same time next year, I hope, with all being well. We want to thank everybody at home for watching. If you're here, don't forget to buy a raffle ticket. You might win.
Yes, and come down and see us at the carnival. Also, 4th of July, we have the fireworks going again.
And that starts around dark,
dark,
around 9.
yeah,
around
it's somewhere around 9 o'clock when it's dark enough to enjoy the bright colors in the sky.
Okay,
and
wonderful
Mother
year.
Nature should be as good to us as she's been this evening, and it'll be wonderful.
All right, so a hearty thanks to all the folks behind the scenes who make us look and sound as good as we do. Ken, it's a pleasure. Next year, same time, same place.
On behalf of the Village Mamaroneck Fire Department, thank you for joining us this evening, and hope you've enjoyed the program.
Thanks again. See you next time.